No, we're just going live.
Oh,
We're live.
all right.
Are you ready? Welcome to Fresh Off the Shelf. My name is John Holzer, and as always, I'm joined by. Wait, is that Jason Voorhees?
Welcome to Four Booers with John Skulzer and Jason Scaris.
What were the other names you had done? Did you do one for Greg?
Greg Nakill and Tim Slither.
Tim Slither.
Tim Slither. Yeah, it's
What,
like
where did Tim Slither come from?
I don't know. It sounds kind of like Mather.
Okay, Mather Slither. I get it. Yeah. Okay.
Because you
That
want
makes
to go
sense.
spooky, but you don't want to go like too like you just want it to be like PG. You
It's
know?
got to be fun. Yeah. You don't
Yeah.
want to go like gross and like I guess you could go completely morbid, but um yeah, you want to keep it fun. It's like when people change their Twitter handles or their names on Twitter. I think that's kind of fun. Then you got the three people that are like, that's not good for accessibility because screen readers. And I'm like, okay, I get it. But it's also, let us have a little fun with Twitter on Halloween, right?
Listen, I saw someone today correcting someone where they're like, it's not actually feta cheese unless it's from Greece. I'm like, come on,
Right.
is that the fucking hill we're dying on today?
Ethan Shablowski did a thing on that as well. Not in like a demeaning, derogatory way, but like an informational way. And yeah, technically he's right, but it's an actually kind of thing, you know?
So in this mask, I
So,
have like I have a derpy eye, but like it works because that kind of is the effect in the real movie.
you actually have a derpy eye in real life?
No, but like in the movie, he kind of has a derpy eye, and so I kind of have a derpy eye when I'm wearing the mask, and it works out.
Oh, I
It's kind
get
of
it.
quirky.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's kind of crooked on your head, so it looks like your eyes are offset.
yeah.
They're not on the same line level, I guess. Horizon
Can't see
line.
shit. Get this
Yeah,
fucking thing off me.
in case no one's watching the
I
video.
got too much fucking shit on me.
He's wearing an actual Jason mask. So there we go.
Too much fucking shit on me.
So today we were supposed to do Four Brewers. Tim couldn't make it. Greg's dealing with some family stuff. So Jason and I decided to just do a couple quick fresh off the shelf episodes because they're fun and easy. I was hoping we could both get our hands on Sierra Nevada's Celebration Fresh Hop IPA. I was able to pick it up, which I'm stoked about. And this might be a new record for Sierra Nevada. This was canned on October 7th, 2021.
I have a friend who's in NorCal, like Livermore area, and yeah, he can't find it.
Hmm.
It's real annoying how long it takes Sierra Nevada's beer to get out into the world.
I mean, they're a big brewery and there's logistics involved. And I think I was listening to Beer Night in San Diego, the podcast Beer Night in San Diego, and I guess the place to get it guaranteed is Costco because they just ship pallets of it to Costco. At least in
right.
San Diego. I mean, San Diego, they have access to a lot of good beer in Costco. But that's the store to go to because I think that's where they probably get the most bang for their buck and they move the most product because it's, people know to go to Costco to get beer, especially in bulk. So,
Well, I went to a beer store and not Costco, so I've got the Hoppy Horror Picture Show.
and that's a collab with who?
It's Beer Zombies, I believe.
Beer Zombies. Yeah. That's
I don't
right.
think it's a collab. I think it's just Beer Zombies. It's just
Okay.
yeah. Yep, just Beer Zombies. It looks like. I didn't realize. I think we talked about it on a couple shows ago, but it wasn't until recently that I thought Beer Zombies was just like a lifestyle brand.
Yeah,
I didn't realize it was actually a place, but yeah.
it's a craft beer bar in Vegas or Nevada, right? Something like that. Is that
Yeah,
what we
I think
found out?
so. This says it's brewed in San Marcos. I wonder if Mason is doing their beer.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Oh,
San
it is
Marcos.
Beer Zombies and Mason Ale Works. Yeah,
Oh, so it is a collab.
as a
Okay.
partnership. I think maybe Mason is brewing their beer for them.
Like it's a contract brew kind of thing.
Yeah,
That
but
would
they
make
do
sense.
list Mason Ale Works on the label. That actually makes me
Mace-
more optimistic.
Yeah, it's not that there's anything wrong with not listing the brewery, but when you list the actual brewery that brews the beer, at least for me, it makes me more confident in buying the beer, knowing where it's coming from. Like, if Firestone Walker were to contract brew a beer, if that beer said brewed at Firestone Walker and that's all it said, like in small print, I'd be like, oh, okay, I'm going to buy this because it's probably going to be really good because it's Firestone Walker essentially.
Right. And so this beer has a pretty cool label. It has the like classic Rocky Horror like red lips. But then they kind of put little tweaks. There's like stitches on one side of it, and the other
Oh
side
yeah,
it's kind of melting into goo and kind of has this zombie-ish thing going on.
I
Rocky Horror
like
is
it.
one of those weird things. I wonder how that's going to survive into like future generations because it's not in modern times. Like when we were teenagers, it was like, oh, it's so subversive. There's like a cross dresser and all this stuff, and now people are just like, yeah, what? So who cares?
I still haven't seen the whole thing. I've only seen clips of it, and I have a general knowledge of what it is. They're doing it at the Fox Theater in Riverside, maybe this weekend. I mean, it
I mean,
makes
this would be
sense.
a good weekend to do it.
Yeah. So it's still something that's around that you can go see. I would assume it's still pretty much alive and well, especially during the spooky season.
Yeah,
But
but
I
I
have
bet
yet
you
to see
everyone
the
in
whole
there is
thing.
Gen Xers.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
It's not something that like the next generation's latching onto because it's just like, I mean, this is just a cheesy ass old movie. A guy
they
dresses as a
could
girl.
though.
Who
I mean,
cares?
it's like everything else. What once was old is new again, and it could be cool again. Or I could see it going the route of maybe like a remake, like modernization kind of thing.
They
Where
did already. They did one like
oh
10
really?
years ago. Yeah, wasn't very
Okay.
good. It was
Well,
around the time Glee was going off, and they did. I think some of those people or something were involved. It was like on Fox. They did a whole new movie. It was not good.
oh, okay. Well, then I
Um,
won't watch that.
yeah, don't. But so this beer is advertised as a hazy, a double dry hopped hazy with Euconaut, Citra, and Amarillo. Um, this is much more West Coast, I would say, in its execution. It's got a lot of bitterness to it. It tastes like it came out of a San Diego brewery, in a good way. I actually really
Yeah.
like this beer. Doesn't have any of that cloyingness or any of that hop burn that you get off lots of hazy beers. It is unfiltered. It looks less clear in the camera than it does in real life. It just looks kind of like a regular unfiltered IPA, like old Alpine Nelson kind of used to look.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Um, and just uh, really solid IPA, actually. Yeah, better than I thought it would be. I didn't know Mason was involved, so I'm pleasantly surprised. This is really good.
Yeah. It will change your perception on the beer because then you're like, oh, this is probably going to be good, rather than going into a beer saying, I don't know, this might be bad. So it sets you on put on the right foot basically. I was going to say something about something and I forgot. What was I going to say? Hmm. Damn it! I hate when that happens. Anyway, getting back to, I had a really good point to make, and it totally slipped my mind. Getting back to Celebration again. This is a beer that a beer geek looks forward to. Like it's just every year it comes out. I remember the first year I had this beer, I thought this was supposed to be like some kind of a winter spiced kind of thing.
Same. It was a while before it really occurred to me that that was an IPA. I always
Yeah,
figured it was like some sort of winter fucking warmer.
and
Ugh.
I still have old bottles behind me in the closet that this beer holds up well for aging, which sounds crazy because it's an IPA. But if you wanted to hang on to it, you can. But labels in the past, I guess this one still has it. It's got like a snowy house on the label right there.
Yeah, they kind of have the
Um,
classic label like on the top half, and then they've kind of
mhm.
modernized the rest of it.
But they definitely are emphasizing the IPA on the can. Like you cannot miss that this is an IPA. It's very large. It's the largest font on the can. So
Also, new to the chat, I haven't seen in here. I don't think I've seen in here before. Andreas Klassman
oh yeah.
saying Sweden says skal. I think I probably fucked up those pronunciations, but I tried my best.
Yeah, Swedish or whatever. Do they speak Swedish? What's the language
I believe
in
it's
Sweden?
Swedish, yes.
But it's so. I mean, I'm just from what I've heard, it sounds so difficult to learn and say. Like it's almost like German, where it's just kind of out there. So I'm not
I
even going to
don't
try to say that.
I don't know much about Sweden, but I really like The Haunted,
Hmm.
who Swedish metal band.
Oh, okay. I was thinking it was a movie. That sounds
No,
like a movie name.
Swedish metal in general is pretty good. Actually, I think Troll Hunter, the movie, is from Sweden. That movie is sick.
I saw Troll Hunter. That's a weird movie.
That's good, right?
I liked it. Yeah, it was fun. I thought it would be more scary, but it was more interesting than scary. So
I believe if there was real giant trolls, that would be how it was.
yeah,
Just some
probably
solitary, fucking hardworking dude out there,
just
just
trolling away.
solely keeping the trolls away,
Yep,
saving
keep
humanity,
keeping
getting
them off
nothing for
Twitter.
it. Working class dude living in a trailer out there.
So yeah, this beer I think is the freshest beer yet from Sierra Nevada that I've ever had. This was canned on October 7th. Today is October 30th. So this is 2 weeks old, and it's Jason jokes about it a lot, but it's not a joke. Sierra Nevada has they're known for having their beers just sit in a warehouse for up to a month before they even hit a truck, and they age in the warehouse. And I think this beer, and maybe I think they even probably went out of their way to get it out as quickly as possible. This beer kind of skipped that warehouse aging process because
And so, well, someone in one of my other beer groups commented too. Some distributors are real kind of particular about seasonals, where like they don't want the new seasonal until the old one's gone, and they'll just kind of be like, "Don't send us any. We're still selling through the summer shit, whatever."
right.
So that could be part of it too. But I don't know, John. I think a 2022 goal for John Holzer is that you got to get your ass to Chico and get some truly fresh Sierra Nevada.
That's yeah. That's
And
not a. I would agree with you.
it's an
Yes, it's
attainable
been.
2022 goal.
I've been drinking beer professionally since 2009, and I have not been to Sierra Nevada proper. So yeah, that's a trip that's easy to make, and there's lots of other stuff to do there. And I mean, yeah, it's cool to go to Sierra Nevada just for the beer, but to experience everything else that brewery does, like it's its own little city, pretty much.
It really
Like,
is, yeah.
yeah, it's kind of incredible. So I will make that a 2022 goal for sure.
Yeah, this beer is surprisingly bitter, actually. Like, as someone who drank two Swamis yesterday, this got a bite. Um, let's see. Andrea says, friend with singer from Millencolin, think John likes it. I think both John and myself, John more so than me though, but are both Millencolin fans.
I love Millencolin. They're one of my top 10 favorite bands of all time. Yeah, and their singer opened a brewery called Duck Pond, and his Twitter evolved, or not his Twitter, his Instagram evolved from being like Millencolin stuff to just beer stuff, and it tickled me. And they have an album called True Brew that clearly was inspired by craft beer, and there's in their later albums many references to craft beer in their songs, like as far as it being like a passion and like like romantic side of craft beer that's reflected in some of their later songs. So it's kind of cool. He went from a homebrewing craft beer geek to owning a brewery.
They were like definitely a band that was always in the mix when definitely when we were big in the like ska punk era. And then when I was like a mopey 21-year-old kid, that song "The Ballad" was one of my like sad boy jams. When I just like I'm gonna be sad this evening, I would put
Yeah,
on "The Ballad."
that is a
Um,
very sad song. It
and
is.
for a very long time, when my brother and like my roommate lived here, we would always say "move your car" in the like accent from the song. It'd just be like, "Hey, can you go to the driveway? I need you to move your car."
Yeah, the last time, not the last time, I think it was 3 years ago, maybe. Herbie Homebrew, Brian, who works at, God, where's he working at? That place is it Pasadena or Glendora, or am I getting that wrong? Where the hell does he work? Oh, God. Simsies? Is he still at Simsies?
No, he's moved on from there, but I forget where he ended up.
Yeah, so did I. Damn it, that's unfortunate. But he did a collab beer with the singer of Millencolin, like I said, 3 or 4 years ago. He was their merch guy for a while when they would tour in the States and maybe even in Europe and abroad. I'm not sure. But they're still pretty close friends. And yeah, I wanted to
So
be
like
there that day.
being a merch guy, like, do you just like kind of get like a daily like per diem to like get you enough food to survive the tour, and you're just there to hang out, or what?
Well, I mean, you got to set up the booth and you got to make
But yeah, I mean, like you're probably not there because you're making big money. You're there for the experience of it, right? Like they're not like, oh, we're gonna give you $1,000 a day to be the fucking merch guy.
I mean, if you're touring with a semi-popular band, that's every tour. If they're touring or playing smaller venues like I don't want to say like the Palladium, but like Riverside Municipal Auditorium, that's a fairly small venue for like if you can sell that out, that's probably a good amount of money you're making off of that. You can afford to pay your help enough, like at least minimum wage, at least like $15 an hour, I would think. And maybe work it out to where it's like, okay, for this tour, we'll pay you. We're going to be touring for 3 weeks. We'll pay you $15,000 to tour with us, and then you get perks of touring with the band, like you get free food and you get to party and free
You can
booze
creep
and all
on
that kind of
girls and be
stuff.
like, I'm actually with the band. We're on the same bus and
I
everything.
mean, if you want to do that, you probably could, as long as you're not being a dick about it.
As long as they're of age. Don't be
Well, that's
that
very
guy.
important too. Yeah. But yeah, I would assume that it's just like any other job. I mean, if you're touring with a band that literally is not making money, then yeah, you're just helping the band out. That's what we were. And even the shows we did play, like in Japan, where we did make money, it wasn't enough to pay a merch guy. Our merch guy was our guy driving us around in Japan because he liked
Right?
us and he liked hanging out with us and helping out us and the label.
For
So
some reason, that just reminded me of the line on Scott Pilgrim when they're talking about their band. They're like, all our shows are secret shows. It's just like,
because no one knows about him.
yeah. It's like, oh yeah, but this band's having a secret show. It's like all of our shows are secret shows.
To wrap things up with this celebration, super good. This is a fresh hop IPA, so it's similar to like a wet hop IPA. The hops are brought in super fresh. They're like brewing the beer within days of receiving the hops. It has that earthy, kind of piney kind of flavor and aroma to it. Big crystal malt character. This is kind of on the red side of IPA, which it should be. That's what it's supposed to be. It's always been like that. It's been a darker shade of orange IPA.
Or 15 years ago, just what IPA looked like.
Yeah, I mean, how much has actually changed with it over the years?
Before
Probably
the
not
West
much.
Coast took over, that's pretty much what all IPA looked like, right? Like
Yeah.
every even American IPA recipe used to have a pretty healthy dose of caramel malt in it.
Yep.
Um,
This is definitely reflecting of IPAs from 12, 15 years ago for sure. But
caramel malt makers hate the new beer industry.
I mean, maybe like because everything's like hazy IPAs, and I'm sure there's no crystal malt being used in hazies. And then West Coast IPA, maybe minimal caramel malts. But even like the Northwest, are they still making Northwest style IPAs where they're kind of on the darker side with caramel malts? I don't know.
Not really, no.
Yeah.
It's done as like a throwback, same as like when you get like a Sierra Nevada style pale ale.
Yeah.
Around here, that's what I saw when I was hanging out up in Portland and Seattle. Every so often, breweries would be like, "Hey, we got like a throwback pale or a throwback IPA."
Mm-hmm. But it's definitely bitter. Like this does not let you down in terms of bitterness. Like it's very bitter. If you bought this for the first time thinking this was some kind of a spiced winter ale, you would learn immediately that you were wrong, because this is an IPA through and through. Like this is a delicious beer. I look forward to it every year. It's got subtle notes of I don't know, like maybe cinnamon kind of spices. Nothing too over the top though. It's base. I don't think they add anything to it. Everything you're getting is from the the malts and the hops. So and their yeast strain that they're using with this. So it's a delicious beer. It's 6.8% alcohol by volume. So it's it's a good ABV for this time of year, and it's delicious. If you've never had it, I highly recommend picking it up because it's just an awesome beer.
Yeah, if your warehouse is done aging your celebration, then get some. It is, to be fair, meant to be more of like a Christmas holiday beer, so
Yeah.
it's early.
I mean, even if you drink this in December and it was canned in October, it's going to be fine. It's going to hold up. Like I said, I still have some that are 10 years old in my cellar, and they're obviously not fresh anymore. They're not going to taste fresh, but they held up for what they are compared to any other IPA that you would store for 10 years. They're absolutely not going to hold up. So if you get it in December, you should be fine. And I think they're probably brewing multiple batches of this. Like, you're going to get probably some stuff that was brewed in November, even in December. So it's not like a one-off kind of thing that they do. I think they kind of spread it out, and this access they have to these fresh hops, I think there's like a window, and they just are continually getting these hops and then brewing the beer. So
Shark Home Brewing wants you to chug a can like apparently Joe did in his review.
Oh,
Joe's Arcade, I believe, is the Joe we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to be responsible. And
we can't bully John into chugging. Sucks.
Yep. Joe is good at chugging. Joe's good at drinking a lot of beer and having a level head, as far as I know. I'm not. So I'm gonna pass on that.
It's now its second beer for the show. It's John Hoser.
All right, you want to get your next beer?
Get another beer?
All right, I'll be back in a minute.
So I'm going to try to pronounce Andreas works as a brewer at Nynäshamns
Just don't.
Nope. It's not happening. I gave it
Again,
a try.
it's such a tough language for us stupid Americans.
There's a lot of letter combinations that are not familiar.
I would love to, like, at the very least, visit Sweden, but it just seems like Sweden and Iceland seem like just awesome places to live. Both in terms of like the setting and their politics and social.
I think you have like
structure.
I think in certain parts you have like no nighttime for part of the year.
That's probably true. Yeah.
Are they in the Arctic Circle or whatever?
Iceland also, probably. Sweden, I don't think they're. I think they're further south.
Maybe a deal breaker. Andreas pointing out that they get celebration in January.
I still think you're fine in January with celebration. It's going to hold up. I'm lucky to try it fresh, though. I don't think I've ever had it this fresh. This is pretty cool.
Must be fucking nice.
Yep, it is.
My next beer, keeping with the Halloween theme. It's got a not Jack Nicholson making like the "Here's Johnny" face through the door. And it's called The Shining?
The Shining, okay.
Or when I see that, all I can hear is The Shining. I always hear The Shinning from fucking The Simpsons. It's called The Shitting. You want to get sued? Yeah, this is a double IPA with Moteca, Mandarina Bavaria, and Mosaic hops. And it is from October 11th, so... Got a nice fresh beer. And did I mention the brewery? It's Hen House.
Very nice.
Hen House, who is up in Santa Rosa, I believe, right? Aren't they like kind of neighbors to Russian River?
They're up northish, yes.
Yeah, they're in Santa Rosa. And then we've had their beer on the show a couple times. I think I remember Jesse Friedman gave me some of their beer, and we've had their beer other ways. Really quality brewery, so I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I got a beer from Bottle Logic. I haven't had Bottle Logic beers in quite a while. Not on purpose, just out of happenstance. I saw this and decided to buy it. And I thought this was cool. This is a collab they did with Lake Arrowhead Brewing. which Lake Arrowhead is a city in the mountains here in Southern California, and it's also a lake.
I didn't know they had a brewery.
Neither did I.
I knew Big
So
Bear had a brewery, which
yeah,
Big Bear Lake and Lake Arrowhead are probably 30 minutes apart up in the mountains of Southern California.
yeah. But this beer
Um,
is called Plain or Satellite, and with a question mark. It's a hazy double IPA, 8.87% alcohol by volume. I don't have a canning date on this, so I'm hoping it's somewhat fresh. But yeah, really cool label art too. It's got like, well, planes and satellites on it. What I guess it's kind of obvious. It's called Plane or Satellite. So let's dive into this thing.
Speaking of cool label art, I'm not going to drink this beer, but I also picked up this Brewery West Rip collaboration beer, Space Crisp, and
Nice.
it's just like always. Brewery West does this really cool, like multi-layered 3D sticker thing
That looks
um,
really cool.
with their label, and yeah, it's really really cool looking.
Is that like a? It looks like a dude wearing a spacesuit kind of thing.
Yeah, and then it's like the plants are like growing out of his helmet, like he's holding his face, like my face, and
That's
there's
really
like
cool.
hop vines coming out of his helmet. It's
Nice.
really cool. Also slightly spooky, but not for this show.
So yeah, this is definitely on the fresher side. I can smell it. It's really earthy, earthy kind of tart candy smelling, kind of dankish, weedy, earthy candy. It's got a unique smell on it, and I'm trying to see if there's any details on this. They don't list any hops on Untapped, nor do they list any hops on the can. It's part of their covalent series.
So while you're looking at that, I'm gonna crack into this Hen House beer. This one is looking like again, it looks like a hazy APA, but in that good way. It's kind of like a bright. It looks much more milky on camera. The
Yeah.
texture is hard to show through, and we've got the bright computer light right next to the camera. But the aroma on this is fantastic. Just big citrus, like almost reminds me in look and in. It's not as thick, but it reminds me a lot in the nose of Julius from Treehouse.
Nice.
Just
Wow.
that very like orange Julius, very citrusy nose. But oh my god, huge aroma on this beer.
Yeah, I go back to the nose on this. I took a sip and went back to the nose, and the citrus notes do come out a lot more. It's got a very Sunny D vibe, but it's almost like you're smelling Sunny D um, while picking weeds in your backyard. Like it's got that kind of earthy, dirty smell, but with a lot of citrus character. And like I said, I took a sip, and it's on the thicker side. This is definitely a hazy. And again, my camera adds a little haze to it.
It adds 10 pounds.
Yeah, exactly. It adds 10 pounds to the haze. It's not as silicone looking as it looks on camera in real life, but it's definitely a hazy through and through. You can feel it on the mouthfeel. It's tongue coating. Finishes crisp and dry, which when I see something that looks like this, I want it to finish more dry than sweet. But it's more bitter than I expected, but also kind of candy tart sweet, if that makes any sense. It's a very weird beer. I mean, it's a hazy. It's a really good hazy double IPA.
This Shining beer is a big surprise. I really just bought it on the gimmick because of the like the label being the Shining themed.
Uh huh.
And the name is named from their former head brewer and co-founder Shane. Um, and it's apparently the double IPA of their Kubrick's Landing IPA. But this beer is so citrusy and so orangey. It just I feel like it's almost not a thing anymore. But you remember when the trademark of hazy IPA was like that juice, that hashtag juice.
Yeah.
And then people started, but like it was juicy in this way that it was like citrus from the hops and not like we just put strawberries in there.
Yeah.
This is that. This really feels like, again, if you like Treehouse Julius, like this beer is in that same exact wheelhouse and done as well. This is really good. Like a huge surprise in how I expected it to be good. This is great. This is a really, really solid beer.
Almost like it's a beer they should brew on the regular rather than what seems to be a one-off kind of thing.
Seriously, or if this is, I mean, honestly, this just raises Hen House up even another notch for me. This is a top tier IPA. Super fucking good.
That's a find, especially since you just bought it based off the can art. That just goes to show how important artwork is on cans. You could have the best beer in a can with shitty artwork, and guess what? Jason wouldn't have bought it because it had
Probably
shitty
not.
fucking artwork.
I was going for a theme today. We're trying to do a Halloween thing.
Yeah, and it came out at the right time, the right artwork at the right time, and it turns out it's a great beer too. It's Hen House, so you probably are going to get something decent no matter what. But the fact that it's above and beyond what you expected, that's really cool.
Yeah, just a great, great beer. Both of these were actually pleasantly better than I expected. I was kind of a little worried that they would just be mediocre hazy boys that I would have to kind of be mum about and shuffle off the show very quickly. But these are both kick-ass.
Yeah, this one from Bottle Logic and Lake Arrowhead Brewing Company. It's a really good hazy. Like I again, the bitterness has kind of mellowed for me as I let it sit and I'm acclimating to it. And for what it is, it's great. Super soft mouthfeel. Again, I don't want to say it's more bitter than I want, but I didn't expect it to be this bitter. And it's like, well, then should it be less bitter and more sweet? No, I think they nailed the balance on this pretty well. But it is a hazy double IPA, and they're always kind of a slog to get through for me these days. There's so much going on where, like with a Swami's, which is a single IPA, it's not a double, but I can almost just chug those like water. Like they're just so easy to drink and so satisfying, and it's what I want from a beer. Where still these hazy double IPAs, they're kind of tough to get through, and this is no exception to that for me anyway. But that's just me. As far if I'm just looking at it from an objective point of view, it's really good, and they nailed it. It's a very delicious beer. It's very tasty. So yeah, I'd like to check out Lake Arrowhead Brewing Company. I doubt they package anything. It seems like I'm assuming they're a brewery that's like right by the lake or something, and you can go in there and pick up some beers.
The cities up there have, their little resort towns, right? They have all sorts of little like shops and restaurants and stuff. So it's probably a little brewery, a small brewery tasting room, or maybe, small to medium brewery tasting room. Not a ton of output. I imagine they do mostly on-premise local sales, because I've never seen them in stores before, and we're about as close to them as as anyone who's not up the mountain could be. So
yeah, exactly. But overall, it's a fantastic beer, and I'm happy I bought it. It's good stuff.
Sweet. You want to wrap up at 2?
Yeah, that's fine.
That sounds good then.
Yeah. Usually I do 2 beers per show. So stop recording. So how you liking your new Pixel 6?
Thus far it's been pretty damn solid. My only complaint is the fingerprint scanner sucks balls.
Yeah, I saw even from reviewers that didn't mention how slow it was. I saw how slow it was, and I'm like, that's too slow.
Here's the thing. It's worse than the last one. And that's the number one problem, right? Like,
so the last one was on the back, right?
Right. And here's the other thing I learned today. It doesn't work in the fucking sun.
Oh, because it needs contrast, and so if it's too bright.
It's light-based, right? It flashes a light. And I tried it when the sun, like in the bright sun shining directly on my phone, and it didn't work. And then I put my hand to shade it, and it worked.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
contrast.
Are you fucking kidding me? This is garbage. Like, that's annoying. Just because, again, it was white. why not put it on the back? I could have a little fucking circle right there. That's my fingerprint scanner, and it looks fine, and nobody would notice, and it's faster and better.
And
God
no
damn
one
it!
would care if it was still on the back
No,
because it's a it's a biometric, and biometrics are supposed to be out of the way, right? That's
it
the whole thing with Face ID. At least before COVID, you just, and even now with my iPad, I have it on my iPad and on my iPhone. It just works. It works great, and I don't think about it.
the other thing is like it's software based, so the phone isn't always ready for you to do a fingerprint. Like if you pick up your phone and it's for whatever reason doesn't realize that you're like ready to use it, it's not ready to take your fingerprint. You have to like hit the power button and then it'll work. But the old one just fucking worked
Well,
at
then it's
any
like, why didn't you
time.
just put it in the power button? Like,
Right. Yeah, it's the fingerprint sensor is pretty shit, but the magic eraser is fucking nuts. It's like really cool.
I saw that and I am jealous as fuck. Like I went back to Photoshop and tried doing content aware fill on some stuff, and I'm like, it's not even close to what they're doing with this feature, and that's yeah. If
I literally
that's cool.
I took a picture of my friend, and it was like a picture of her and her friend, and I just deleted her friend from it, and it like created like a texture where there wasn't one. Like there was nothing behind them because you could just see the two people, and
Right.
it created like a couch basically. Like it like filled in the area with like texture that looks like the texture of a couch or something.
Huh.
And it like if you look closely you can tell, but it looks like somebody spent a good amount of time Photoshop clone tooling something out.
Yeah, the best example I saw, and it was a quick thing that Marquez Brownlee posted, MKBHD. It was a sign that was kind of diagonal in the video, but it was in front of like a hill full of rocks and stuff and weeds and stuff. And he just did a very crude trace around the sign, and it filled in, and it looked fantastic. Like content aware, like even clone stamping in Photoshop. Once you learn how to do it, you can do it with ease. It's quirky, but you learn how to work with it. I did it yesterday actually with I took a screenshot from a comic I'm reading, and I wanted to take out the talking bubbles, from the comic. I just wanted that artwork so I can look at it. And so I spent 5 minutes using the clone stamp tool in Photoshop with my Apple Pencil, and it looks fine. It looks great. But for Google to pull that off in seconds, and you just do a crude trace, that's pretty cool. Like I'm
And
jealous of that.
what's pretty good too is that a couple times it'll leave like little smudges, and then you just kind of like scrub the smudges and
Fix
have
it
it go
again.
again, and it fixes it.
Yeah.
So like I literally took a picture of like a mug and like another thing, and just like would erase the thing, and it's like, oh, the shadow's still there, and I'm like, scrub, scrub, scrub. Now it's gone, and just
Wow.
like it does pretty convincing. Like again, if you really zoom in and you're looking for it, like you can kind of tell that it's been edited.
Yeah.
But for it to just be magic where you literally can Photoshop stuff by just going like rub with your finger till the thing's gone and boom, it's gone. It's pretty cool.
I think from what you said about if you're looking for it, you'd have to know that it was edited. But
Right.
if you just saw this photo like on Instagram, you would just cool.
Yep.
That's a great photo. Like how did like I who oh god, it was a photo of someone at like a baseball game, and they hi Sarah.
Hey, sir. We're not recording anymore, so hello. We're there's like four of us. We're just hanging out talking shit. That's yours. The glass. Yeah.
But it was a selfie at like a baseball game, and so there was people in the seats behind them, and they erased everyone from the seats, but the seats were still there with empty, like they were empty seats. I'm
Right.
just like that's crazy. It's literally magic. Like that's awesome.
And then like so I did stuff like I took a picture of my car and I just like erased the door handles, and like it just they just come right off. It just puts the texture on there, and you're like, what would my car look like without door handles? Easy breezy. It's really
Jeez.
cool. I'm actually in the middle of getting like a wrap redone on the Buick, so
Oh really?
yeah, getting getting the wood grain redone in like a darker color,
Cool.
and because
Yeah. The
it's
only
kind of fucked up. So
The only bad thing I saw, Eric on Twitter, Fat Emo Kid, his battery life was shit the first day. He got like half a day.
Yeah, mine doesn't seem. It seems worse than the Pixel 5 so far from what I'm seeing. The AI is really good though. Like the voice to text is
Oh, yep,
like
that's
perfect.
yep.
Like it's
I heard
really
good stuff
really
about
good.
that too. Yeah, I gotta hand it to Google on this one. Hardware wise, I think the phone looks really cool. I like the visor on the back with the cameras and stuff. I like that they changed the sensors. If you watch the YouTubers that review phones on a regular basis and cameras and stuff, they talk about how the processing on these photos is too good, where like the night shots look too good, like
Yeah,
they're
The Verge mentioned that quite a bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're over processed. They still look great, but they could use, it's dark outside. Let it be dark,
I have noticed that you can tell you're getting more light in the sensor. On the couple pictures I've taken, it does seem like they're initially higher quality before it like magics them. It
Yeah,
doesn't make them look worse, but it's like you can see already just looking at it, like, okay, it's getting more detail than my last phone did, than the Pixel 5.
right.
Um, yeah, the phone itself feels way nicer. It's a lot bigger than the 5. The base 6 is a good, like,
6.4?
yeah, it feels like at least half an inch bigger physically. It's a lot bigger phone.
Was there a
Um,
chin or like subtle like bezels on the Pixel 5?
the 5 had the little like little thingy, the square up in the corner, the camera square or whatever.
I mean
Um,
the display. No, it was a whole bunch
oh,
display. Yeah, okay.
the bottom has a little bit more of a thing than the bottom has a little bit more of a bezel than some of the newer phones, I think, on the 5. This one is pretty well wall to wall screen.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing is they switched from the cloth style cases they've been doing to like a rubberized one, and it's a
Mm,
perfectly good case, but the cloth one felt a little nicer. This one is just
premium.
yeah,
Yeah.
this just kind of feels like a good, rubber case, but
How does it go around the visor? Like is it just two little thin pieces of whatever rubber on the sides and that's it? Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. All right.
yeah, pretty much. The visor doesn't hit, so you set it on the table and it rests on the little bumps, so the visor doesn't actually hit the table or anything.
Got it.
Um, Overall, seems like a pretty solid phone so far. Like I got it pretty cheap, and it came with free Pixel Buds.
Yeah,
So
you did a trade in with your 5, right?
yeah, they're giving me $365 for my 5.
Not bad.
So the total cost out of pocket was like 240 or something, and that got me the phone, the case, and the Pixel Buds.
Cool.
So
I'm
not too
basically
bad.
leasing an iPhone from Apple every year. I'm on the upgrade program, and I just give them $65 a month, and then the next year I get a new iPhone and just keep paying them money, which is what they want.
Yeah, Google has that now too. They did that
I
with
saw
this
that.
release. They have it's like $45 a month, and you get pretty much like all the Google stuff. You get YouTube and YouTube Music and YouTube Premium,
Do
Google
you pay for
One.
YouTube Premium?
I've paid for it for years.
Yeah, so have I.
I used to pay for it to get Google Music All Access, and it just came with YouTube Premium. But
Yeah,
I
I got
watch
it back
YouTube
when it
a
was
lot.
nine bucks a month or something. Like
Yeah, I'm
I
still
got
paying
it.
$7.99.
I think that's what I'm paying. Like
Yeah,
I'm like I'm locked in. I'm not going to change it because I watch YouTube more than anything else. Which I didn't think
right.
I'd say that like
And people will be like,
ever.
"Oh, I hate that annoying commercial on YouTube." I'm like, never
What?
seen it.
Yeah.
I thought that looked familiar. Armando popped in. Haven't seen you in a while, man. Good to see you in here.
I thought I might see him at Packing House's anniversary, but I did not. So
That's the problem,
yeah,
man. We get used to just seeing in the beer world where you're like, "Yeah, I'll run into you. Come see you soon." And then been COVID. There's no beer festivals. There's none of that shit. You don't see anybody anymore.
yeah. Well, I'm a happy Mac boy. I got my MacBook Pro that I didn't tell Yvonne how much I paid for it, but I'll tell you guys. I paid
I know how much you paid for it.
I paid a lot of money. I'm paying monthly for a year. It's a 12-year thing, but I'm going to pay it off in probably 6 months. But it's nice having that option with the Apple Card, having interest-free financing, and it works so well.
Every so often, I'm like, I should buy a new laptop, and then I'm like, I use my laptop once a month, if that. Like, it's not. There's no like need that I have for it.
Well, when I got my
cool new shit.
iPad Pro, I converted everything over to my iPad Pro, and it's still perfectly capable. The only thing was that I was missing out for the show was audio processing, especially during COVID where we're recording remotely. Like, there's times when you have your fan on and you're hot. I'm not going to make you turn your fan off for the show, but
I turned it off today, John. I just want you to know.
Well, you know what? In the future, you can keep it on because now I have my new MacBook that I can process these files with Isotope, which is the program that, like, it's just it's magic for audio. It's like you say, okay, analyze this clip for noise. In our case, your 1 hour wave file that you upload is almost a gigabyte, and so it takes about 4 minutes for it to analyze it. They're not even using the chip. It's not even, their program still isn't made for the new Apple Silicon. It's still running on Rosetta 2. So it's basically, it's not emulating, but it's Apple looking at it and going, okay,
right,
we're going to do our thing. And if they would rewrite the app for Apple Silicon and just crush all the cores, like that 5-minute clip could be analyzed in 10 seconds. Like it's that powerful, but they haven't done that yet. So now that I have this with my 15-inch MacBook, the fans would kick up. It would take like 15, 20 minutes to analyze a clip that big. And it just wasn't worth it. Like, it would take an hour to analyze your guys' clips. So I was using the same developer that makes the program I use to edit, Ferrite. He makes another app called what's it called? I'm in focus mode here. Hokusai 2. It was like the first linear editing program he made before Ferrite. But it has tools in there for like audio processing, for like noise removal, reverb removal, voice clicks, like a bunch of stuff. And it works fine, but it's not as good as Isotope. And I think he would tell you, of course, it's not as good as Isotope because that's their whole business, is processing audio. Like, Isotope is one of those programs where you can put a song in there and it will isolate the vocals or the guitars or the drums and give you separate tracks for everything. That's really how good it is. Yeah.
Although all of this stuff about doing audio editing. So, have you watched the Wu-Tang show on Hulu at all?
Not yet. No.
Me and Sarah really like it, and the latest episode is basically there's like a whole thing where like they're showing like all the progress Riz is making, like putting different people's albums together and all this stuff, and he's doing it all in Pro Tools on like an old black and white Mac that's like 91 or something, and and he's putting everything on 3.5-inch floppies, and then like a pipe breaks and the whole fucking basement gets flooded out, and so there's this scene of him coming down and there's just floppy disks fucking floating around in the water.
Oh no.
And it's like, that was the cliffhanger of the episode. It's like, we got everybody's albums done, we got all this shit, the Wu-Tang's rising up, and it's like, oh fuck.
I think floppies can recover from water, though. You just gotta let them dry,
like
right?
They're magnetic, right? So I feel like the water wouldn't kill them. You probably get, at least they may be somewhat damaged, but
I would say the data is probably fine. I'd be concerned about like the bearings on the inside.
Yeah, maybe you'd like get to put them in a different thing or something.
I would definitely transfer the data to a new disc.
Or like you get like a professional company that can actually like take the platter and put it into a new housing or whatever.
Yeah,
like take the little spinny part. But
depending on like if you're a producer, like the stuff on those discs is probably very valuable, so it's worth the cost of going through that whole process.
So fun fact, I was curious, and I was thinking about when we were talking about laptops, I was like, what are they charging for the Airs these days? And like, honestly, I feel like after all these years, the MacBook Air actually offers a pretty good value prop versus
especially the M1. That's your best bang for your buck, dude.
Right. But what's funny is they actually have a thing where like you can get it delivered within 2 hours.
Yep, depending on where you're at.
So I think they're just delivering it from the store. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's like deliver within 2 hours for $9. I'm like, that's kind of cool.
You gonna buy one and try it out?
I'm not before Christmas. I can't buy shit because it makes Christmas hard.
Yeah, dude.
Like, my whole family's like, can you stop buying things? Like, don't buy yourself anything for the next 2 months.
Oh, right.
Christmas is coming up. Like, we want to actually like get you gifts and shit. I don't think anyone's buying me a MacBook though.
That's me because I bought the new Apple Watch, the stainless steel gold Apple Watch, and it's fantastic. I'm so happy I spent the extra money on the stainless version because it's got the better ceramic glass on it, and it's a whole thing. I got my new MacBook Pro. I got the Switch OLED. I got the two controllers for the N64 online service, for Sega and N64. I just got those today. I got my Fender guitar Lego set. I got the N64 question block Lego set that I just finished. Yeah, no one's buying me anything for Christmas because you can't. Because I have everything that I want, and I don't want to stop. And so I tell my family, if you don't buy me anything, that's fine. If you want to give me money, I'll take the money, but I don't care. Like,
you just hold off buying shit for like a month.
I can't. Right? I'm just having fun, man.
That Stratocaster set is really cool, though.
Yeah, my favorite thing about that kit, from what I've seen from the photos, is obviously the guitar's cool, but the amplifier's got a lot of cool details on it. Like, it's got tubes that you're going to build for it, and it's got a circuit board that you're going to build. And there's more too.
Oh, really? Usually, there's stuff inside the shell of the amplifier.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes with these special Lego sets. Like the Lego NES, they had like under one of the pieces they have like a thing where it's like a level of Super Mario Brothers. It's just random. They don't tell you this stuff is in there, but while you're building it, it's like, okay, step 2, do this. Step 3, and you're like, what the fuck am I building? And it's this cool Legoized level of the game. Yeah, you can see.
Yeah,
the
this is
right
really
there.
cool. Yeah, it's got the tubes and the speaker and all that stuff. That's pretty rad.
Yeah, and it's an open back like combo amp, so it's true to form, and yeah, it's really cool.
I played on a Fender combo amp for pretty much as long as I played guitar. It was a Fender Rock Pro.
Okay,
it was like their first. It was like their newer solid state shit, trying to get cheaper than their old school stuff.
Yeah,
it was a good amp though.
After playing in a band for such a long time and owning tube amps and stuff, don't buy tube amps. Like, it's such, especially with technology right now, the way it is, like, emulation for different guitar sounds is so good. Like, having to maintain a tube amp is like having to maintain a VW van or, a Bug or something. It's cool to have, but do you want to have to put up with all the bullshit, or like an old classic, like, truck or something? It's cool to have, but you got to realize you're going to put a lot of work into keeping it running.
There's a reason that technology has kind of died, right? Like, there's a cost to using it and not just the actual cost. Yep. And yeah, I think at first you kept with the old stuff because it was like 1990 and solid state shit was pretty primitive, and
yep.
The stuff they can do in software now is pretty crazy. I mean, even a lot of your real like shreddy guitar bands now, they play with a full ass laptop on their amp.
I don't doubt it. Especially considering how much processing is happening with as much overdrive as they're getting, and then the noise gating at the same time. When I was in a band, like, you could buy a noise gate, but it wasn't nearly as perfect as these noise gates are now, where you can do these chugging riffs like and it's just like there's no noise. All you hear is what you're playing, and it's like perfect in and out. That wasn't possible like 15 years ago when I was in a band.
A lot of the like more like djenty kind of tech metal stuff,
the
like
djenty stuff, yeah.
They run a laptop that's doing samples at the same time as processing their guitar, and like they're doing a lot of crazy shit.
I think that's really cool. Like that's just
Yeah.
why not utilize technology to make cool sounds and cool music? Like I'm
Just
here
get
for
your
it.
pedal board and software.
Pretty much. But yeah. All right. Well, to everyone hanging out on the stream, I think we're gonna cut it out here. Had
Thanks for dropping by. Some familiar faces. Kyle popped in. Hey, Kyle.
Tech Time with 4B, and again Armando. Hoping to see you sometime soon.
Yeah, I hope to see you guys out in real life one of these days. Feels like we're actually like slowly getting out.
Get your boosters, people. It's if you're 6 months out from your last shot, technically you have to qualify. Put that in air quotes, but just go get it. They'll give it to you.
Did you get yours yet?
I did. I got it on Monday.
Did you get the same one, or did you like mix and match?
Pfizer, yeah. I mean, if I didn't get Pfizer and if I couldn't, I'd get Moderna. I mean, I don't care.
I guess they're kind of recommending that you mix them, I guess, because they had the different approaches kind of help the efficacy or whatever. So
Moderna, it turns out, is the best one to get, which I thought Pfizer would be. But again, I'm basing that on branding alone. Like it's just like beer,
guys, right?
Right? So yeah, I got my booster. Yvonne got her booster yesterday and a flu shot at the same time. So she got 2 shots, which I'm
planning on getting mine as a pair sometime the next week or two. So
if they could put it in one shot, that'd be cool. But
they actually they're getting approval right now for like one kind of like master shot that does like it's like 4 different vaccines, like COVID, the flu shot, like your a bunch of other stuff.
Cool.
They're trying to get that approval right now. The mRNA stuff is really cool. I guess the tech has been around for like over a decade. They've been working on it, and this was just kind of like hey, there's a big pile of money now. Here's the final push to get this shit out there.
And that's exactly what it was. And that's the reason why these people that are like, this is untested, they're testing it on us. It's like, no, this is something they've been working on for a very long time. And now that there was an infectious disease that the government's like, hey, we need to fix this right now. Here's a pile of money. Can you do something? They're like, yes. We wish we would have had this pile of money like 5 years ago. Like we could have fixed a lot of other stuff along the way.
Right.
But it's one of those, silver linings to a dark cloud that, now and people know what mRNA is, and it's a technology that can be used to help a lot of people in many different ways. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks for hanging out, everyone, and we'll see you next time.